Blue collar, white collar, black professors, white scholars, politicians, Dalai Lamas. Everybody in the whole wide world need hope if I be honest. I'm in that number.
Welcome to another episode of the Rob Report. I'm your host, Robert BOBTV Brown. Now, well, our motto is, we don't take sides, we take over. Like I said, I'm not on nobody's side, Republican, Democrat. You don't get that from me. I'm going to call you all out, but when you do something good, I'm going to give you props. And in this case, Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren, who I usually call Late Liz because she's always late to the game. She's always late to everything. She was late on DAPA. She was late on supporting Bernie Sanders. She's late. But I got to give her credit here in this situation. Senator Warren introduced two bills that really is designed to drain the swamp. So there you go, Trump. You got somebody on your side, a Democrat, willing to help you drain the swamp. So let me go into this. This is from Vox. Senator Elizabeth Warren just unveiled a dramatic plan to eradicate Washington corruption. This is what we need. We need people, something that's going to uncover the crooks in Washington, D.C. And the thing about it, everything I'm going to talk about it really don't mean nothing. Why? Because none of them going to vote on this. Why? Because most of them on Capitol Hill are crooks, Republican, Democrat, and even some independents. They're crooks. Crooks. But let me read this. Warren's Anti-Corruption and Public Integrity Act, that's the name of the act, is a plan to ensure a Trump administration never happened. So they designed this to make sure a Trump administration never happened because they're assuming everybody in the Trump administration is corrupt. I tell people you cannot lump everybody in a box. All I can say is majority of them are. And when I say everybody, I really mean majority of them. I know there's some good people in the Republican Party, Democratic Party, Green Party, the Rent Too Damn High Party. No, I know there's some good people all over the world. So you can't single people out. But let me go ahead and read this. Senator Warren envisions a United States government in which presidential and vice presidential candidate must by law, and let me stop this, Vox. This is supposed to make sure everybody, senators, governors, you name it, that they disclose 8 years worth of tax returns and place any assets that they could present as a conflict of interest into a blind trust to be sold off, neither of which Donald Trump has done. That's why I say if you want to get him, you can get him because of this. He violated the Monument Clause. And there's plenty of evidence to prove it, but you're not going to prove it because you're not going to call him out on corruption because the majority of you guys are corrupt anyway. To Warren, the Trump administration nepotism is emblematic of everything that is wrong with Washington. Wrong with Washington. But she doesn't just want to replace Trump and his administration with better actors. She wants to blow up the existing system from start to scratch, or to start from scratch. Let's face it, there are no real questions that the Trump era has given us the most nakedly corrupt leadership this nation has seen in our lifetime. Oh, stop that, Vox. Stop that. There was corruption in the Obama administration. There was corruption in every administration, not just Trump. Believe me, this takes the cake. But, anyway. All right, so Senator Warren went and talked about the bill at the press club. I could put it up and let y'all watch it. But I'm going to go over her proposed fix. She envisioned a Washington where the president, vice president, cabinet members, and congressional lawmakers have a lifetime ban on becoming lobbyists. That's great because we got too many people like Eric Cantor and what's his name, Boehner and all of them that's going to work on as lobbyists. People like Howard Dean and things like that. They're in there, they become legislators to build their careers. They don't become legislators to legislate and fight for you. They're there for one reason, to build themselves. And you help them every time you vote them into office. Her proposed fix envisioned a Washington where the president, vice president, cabinet members, and congressional lawmakers have a lifetime ban on becoming lobbyists, and other federal workers have restrictions, all bet less severe, on entering lobbying firms. The act would also bar federal judges from owning individual stocks and accepting gifts or payments that could potentially influence the outcome of their rulings. And in Warren's plan, laid out in a new bill called the Anti-Corruption and Public Integrity Act, this would be overseen by the United States Office of Public Integrity, which would go after violators and usher in a new era of ethic law enforcement. Sounds great. The idea is to isolate and quarantine the ability of big money to affect the decisions made in everyday lives or made every day by every branch of government. She said in a speech on Tuesday that means all three branches, executive, legislation, and judicial, will come up under this bill. And it should be local, should be statewide, should be a federal bill. There are plenty in this bill that Democrats and Republicans in Washington, it shouldn't just be Washington, Elizabeth, it should be federal, including, and the states need to adopt their own similar. There's plenty in this bill that Democrats and Republicans in Washington likely won't agree with, as it is clearly designed to overhaul the entire system that members of both parties have benefited from for years, Warren admitted as much on Tuesday. Inside Washington, some of these proposals will be very unpopular, even with some of my friends. She said outside of Washington, of course, because some of your friends are corrupt. Hey, we all got friends that are corrupt, right? Everybody in your friendship circle is not nicey and goody two shoes. All right, so let's keep going. Outside Washington, I expect most people will see these ideas as a no-brainer and be shocked they're not already in law. Warren, one of the top potential 2020 president candidates who have run, she'll lose, is staking out an early position for herself as a voice for the working people. So they're pretty much saying the only reason she's doing this is because she's trying to become president. I don't think this is the way you become president. This might be something she genuinely want to come up with. And let me keep going. And is laying out exactly how she would drain the swamp. In detail, she long railed against corruption in Washington, but she clearly setting herself up as the anti-Trump proposed drastic, give me a moment. In other words, she's going to try to prove it. All right, so the bottom line is this. Let me tell you something about Elizabeth Warren. She started her career the right way. She started her career dealing with consumer protection, trying to protect the consumers from fraud, from scandals, from con artists and things like that. All right, that was a popular thing that she did. And she did legislate some good things concerning that. And she did fight for the rights of the people in those situations. But as she become a politician, more and more dwarfed into a politician, she become more and more of a politician, which means she only move when it's convenient for her. And right now, this move is pretty much convenient for her because it make it look like he said he's going to drain the swamp, but I'm going to really drain the swamp, and I'm going to prove it with this bill. Now, what she should have did was call Trump out. All right, Trump, if you're about draining the swamp, you would support this legislation. Matter of fact, I will give you this legislation and we can go ahead and go for a vote for it now. Trump is not trying to drain the swamp, because if Trump is trying to drain the swamp, he would support this bill. This is the problem that this bill has. Majority of people on Capitol Hill and in Washington pretty much are slimy, sleazy, slime ball crooks. And they're only there to make their careers great. And eventually, if you vote them out, they're going to find a good job. They're still going to get their benefits and all that kind of stuff, while you still struggling, no benefits, no health care, no education, struggling. Can't afford to go to college, can't put your kids in college, keeping your head above water, barely paying your rent because you don't even have a living wage. Yet these people are coming into office trying to profit off your votes. They're profiting off your votes. And you doing the slut voting, voting all D's, or some people doing slut vote, voting all R's. And these people, putting these people in position, trying to pick the lesser of two evils, when both of them are evil. One may be greater than the other, but they're both evil. And these evils are looking for a better career than just Congress. Congress is just stop number one. There's more stops If I can't make it to stop number 2, go from the House to the Senate, and from the Senate to maybe a governor or president, then I just get a lobby job, or I just do speeches at Wall Street and things like that. But the bottom line on this one is most people are corrupt and they're not going to support this bill because that means it's going to burn them and it's going to stop their gravy train. That's why Senator Warren need to call all of them out on both sides, not just the Trump administration. She need to say, Donald Trump say he's going to drain the swamp. I want to help him. So I develop a bill that if passed will literally drain the swamp from the top, from the president all the way down to those people like me. And it's called the Anti-Corruption and Public Integrity Act. And Donald Trump, if he's serious, he would team with me to make this happen. I'll even call it the Donald Trump Anti-Corruption and Public Integrity Act. He could put his name on it. I just want to get rid of corruption, and I want to add more integrity in our offices. And call out every politician that don't sign on that bill, Democrat and Republican. Because which one is more important, Elizabeth Warren? Integrity in our country, integrity as a lawmaker, integrity as a political figure, or are you just trying to set yourself up to become president? Let me go into detail of the Anti-Corruption Act. This is just one of the bills. She have another bill I'm going to talk about in another segment that I think is pretty cool too. A lifetime ban on lobbying for presidents, vice presidents, member of Congress, federal judges, and cabinet secretaries. A lifetime ban on lobbying for presidents, vice presidents, members of Congress, federal judges, and cabinet secretaries. Second thing, multi-year lobbying bans for federal employees, both congressional staffers, employees of federal agents. The span of time would be at least 2 years and 6 years for corporate lobbyists. So this is a multi-ban. So after the ban is lifted, you can go work. Just try to make sure that you don't have no hidden agendas. Next one requires the president and vice president to place their assets that could present a conflict of interest, Donald Trump and the Trump Foundation, including real estate, in a blind trust and sell them off. In other words, if you want to keep what you got, don't run. But if you want to, if you become president, you got to give up your assets because we don't want no conflict of interest. Trump appeared to do that, put everything in his son's name, but it's still in his name. His son just run the business. That is not enough. Requiring the IRS to release 8 years worth of tax returns for all presidents and vice president candidates. And you know, we didn't see Trump's. And we probably haven't seen a lot of other people. As well as requiring them to release tax returns during each year in office. In other words, we need your tax returns 8 years back, and we need to see it every year while you're in office. Good stuff. The IRS would also have to release 2 years worth of tax return for members of Congress and require them to release tax returns for each lawmaker's year in office. So as long as you're in office, you got to show us your money. Good deal. Banning members from Congress, cabinet secretaries, federal judges, White House staff, senior congressional staff, and other officials from owning individual stocks while in office. In other words, don't be playing footsie with Wall Street. If you own any stock, you got to get rid of it if you want to be in office. Create a new independent U.S. Office of Public Integrity, which would enforce the nation's ethics laws and investigate any potential violation. The office would also try to strengthen open record laws, making records more easy and accessible to the public and the press. So creating a public integrity office where you can go and look at people's records and see what it's like. Now, problem with this is going to tick a lot of people off. I'm done with this. I'm not going to go into detail too much more. Because a lot of people say this is Elizabeth Warren trying to become the next president. And probably so. but I'm more concerned about getting these policies out here. This is a good policy, and I'm not a fan of Elizabeth Warren, and I'm a progressive / conservative. Not a fan of Warren. She's late to the game, but this I like. Like I said, I don't have to like you, but I can like your legislation. I ain't got to agree with you, but I can agree with you on some things. I ain't got to support you to support what you're doing. You still slime ball, and I don't like you, but this legislation is pretty good. Now, I'm not calling Elizabeth Warren a slime ball, but she's too convenient. It's too much about her. She's an opportunist. She don't put herself out there at risk. She's too careful. She's too cautious. That's how I am with women. That's why I'm not married right now. But the bottom line is, whether she's setting herself to be president or not, and whether she want to use this as a catalyst, I don't give a crap. I don't give a crap, tell you the truth. I don't live in her state, so I wouldn't vote for her anyway, okay? The bottom line is this is a good piece of legislation. And it's not going to get passed. It's not going to get public report. So it's not going to get Democrat support. It's not going to get Republican support. Why? Because this bill hurts all of them. The nerves of you to call us out with this bill. What I would do, I was at a press conference, and another press conference, and I would call Donald Trump out every week and say, Trump, I'm waiting on you to get with me so we can really drain the swamp. This right here will drain the swamp. Most of the corrupt politicians, they will get rooted out with this bill, and they will have to leave or give up the money. Get their hands out of the lobbying pool. Get your hands out of your business interests. Get your hands out of other people's business interests. Forget about your next career now you're in office and focus on your career right now and help people. I will call them out, and I will put a bill up, and I will give people 90 days to sign on the bill. And if you don't sign on the bill, I'm personally calling you out. Even as a Democrat, I'm not a Democrat, I'm independent. Even if I was a Democrat, I will call out Democrats, I will call out Republicans, because I'm serious about helping Donald Trump, so to speak, because he ain't about draining the swamp. But if he's not going to drain it, I'm going to drain it, and I'm going to drain it good. So, good bill, Elizabeth Warren. Do I think it will get passed? Hell, heavens and hell, no, it's not going to get passed. But because of that, she need to call them all out by name. She need to call them. She need to grab them. She need to say, will you support my bill to root out corruption? And have them saying no on audio, on camera, and call them to the carpet. That's my take on this. Good bill, Elizabeth Warren. Kind of hard to do. I don't think they're going to sign for it because they're signing their own death wish as a politician because they are so corrupt. And if you had the ability to look into their record, which all of them should be, Robert Mueller should be looking into all of them and not being a one-sided act. He should be looking at every politician and call them out for corruption. But if you don't want to do that, then every senator needs to support Elizabeth Warren bill that would drastically help the United States become a more country of integrity and run for office more people of integrity. I'm Robert Brown with The Robert Report. I'll talk to you soon. Peace. Hey, if you like the content, please like it, share it through all the social media platforms. If you have not subscribed, make sure you stop me right now and subscribe. Don't just subscribe, but hit the notification bell like that, a little bell. You gotta click that. That'll let you know when I'm dropping a video. Whoop, there it is. And by all means, if you want to support through Patreon, I appreciate people who appreciate the program and want to donate to the cause on BOBTV. And I'm Robert Brown with The Rob Report. Peace.